Their hands touched. A tingling sensation rushed up her arm and into her chest. She looked up at him. Their gazes clashed, held, as heat and desire simmered between them. 14 years hadn't dulled the passion. It had only intensified it. Natalie scrubbed her hands on her jeans and took a step back. She turned and found Cullen and Wyatt blocking the exit to the front door. "I'm sorry about Virgil and Charlotte. They were good people," Mrs. Turnbull told the boys. Cullen's smile was sad. "That they were. They were able to get a handle on all three of us as no one else could. They'll be sorely missed." "I hope you find who did this," she said. "Seen anyone around town out of the ordinary?" Cullen asked her. The old woman shook her head of white hair before looking at her friends. "No, we haven't. Do you think whoever did this is still around?" "We don't know," Owen replied. Then it hit Natalie. She'd been young when Owen's mother was murdered, but it had been the talk of the small town for months. Everyone speculated that it was because of Oren's work with the military, especially when the FBI showed up. As far as Natalie knew, Melanie Loughman's case had never been solved. Now there were 2 more murders after Oren had returned to town. Coincidence? She doubted it. She made her escape from the house after a few minutes. She walked across the yard to the paddock and held out her hand to the filly. The foal wouldn't come to her, but the mare did. Natalie rubbed the horse's forehead. Owen had given her a love of horses. She'd always admired the beautiful creatures, but she hadn't known how much fun it was to ride until Owen. Nat. Her hand stilled and her heart missed a beat at the sound of his voice. She glanced over her shoulder as she continued to pet the mare, the foal coming closer before backing off at the last minute. "Hi," she finally answered. "We haven't had a chance to talk alone." She rubbed her cheek on the sleeve of her shirt. "I know." She turned to face him. "You look good." His smile was warm. "So do you. I thought you were leaving this small town and never coming back." "Yeah," she said with a small laugh. "It's not as bad as I used to think." Dark eyes watched her. She lowered her gaze to his sun-kissed skin. He always had a golden glow about him, but his tan was darker. Speaking of many days outside, it fit the desert camo. "So, a seal?" she asked. She'd found out from Callie. It hadn't surprised her that he would be the one to follow in his father's footsteps. "Yep." That explained so much about him, from his bearing to his body and the way he surveyed things, as if he were sizing everything up as a threat assessment. Silence stretched between them, becoming almost awkward. She was searching for something to say when Mrs. Turnbull and the others walked from the house. "Take care of yourself, Owen," Mrs. Turnbull called as she got into the SUV. Natalie used their departure as an excuse to go back into the house, anything to get away from the emotions she was struggling with regarding Owen. I should help Callie with all the food. She wasn't surprised when Owen didn't stop her, though a part of her really wished he had.